And, side note, to inflate my own ego even more, I'm being inducted into the Sparta Notable Person Hall of Fame in November.
Wow. Hello, Sparta Notable Person. Nice to meet you.
Because I've done 300 of these podcasts.
Oh, that's right. We're here with that notable person. Ahmed Fareed's here. Chris Sims, Unbuttoned, presented by Under Armour. What's up, everybody? Hope you're well. Going to recap Week 7 in the NFL, as we always do. We're going to hit every game except Thursday night because we refuse to go that far back. It's kind of funny that we do that.
We always get a comment or two of people that go, what about Thursday?
I don't remember. We've had too many drinks between now and then. Who can remember Thursday night?
Do it real quick. Cleveland won without the running backs. That was cool.
It was cool. It was one of those games. Well, no, it was one of those games, I will say real quick, just to where I went as soon as the game started, I picked Denver to win by a field goal, and I went, there's no chance. Denver has no chance of winning this game. And Pete can confirm that text. Honestly, I was ashamed that Cleveland only won by 3. Here's my thing I want to say about Cleveland, and we'll move on and go on with the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Cleveland needs to stop, we run for 8, we run for 8, we run for 12, and then we get in the shotgun and spread it out for 2 or 3 plays. No, they need to be like new age Nebraska NFL team. They have an unbelievable run scheme. They can do everything within that. They got these running backs. It should be, like the 49ers and the Browns offense condensed together. It should be sweeps to Jarvis Landry, reverses to Odell, ISO smash with Kareem Hunter, Nick Chubb. You know what I mean?
Lean into the whole thing.
Lean into the whole thing. Play to your strength. Stop trying to be this we're going to throw him a curveball and get in the shotgun now and empty formation. No. I don't know. They just come up with that kind of offense and a bunch of play action passes off it. They'll be almost unstoppable.
So to answer your question, no. We're not going to talk about Cleveland or the Thursday night game. In saying that, we talked about it for the most we've ever talked about it.
What's
on this
up?
podcast.
What's up? How you doing, man?
Good. And as the intro mentioned, yes, Sparta notable person. And then I texted you and I go, "How many Hall of Fames are you in?"
Right.
And you said you also are in your high school.
I am. I'm also a notable person. Yes, that's the only Hall of Fame I'm in, though.
Dang it.
Yeah, but I got in a few years ago. But with these things as usual, it's like, hey, it's a great honor, but are we really doing this just to raise funds for the school? Do you really think I'm that important?
I know. They go, yeah, Chris, congratulations. Here's where you can donate.
It's lost luster. It's lost luster. Now every one of my teammates I played with in high school is also in the Ramapo Notable Hall of Fame. So I'm like, it's not that special anymore.
All right, so let's do it. Let's get through all these with a couple Hall of Famers, giving you some breakdowns of the games. Chris mentioned it. We go through all the games because that's our pledge to you every week. We got Gimme the Headlines, presented by Hyundai a little bit later on. Under Armour is going to give us damn okay. We've got some Robin Hood players, some players who kind of stepped up, underrated defensive performances in some of these games.
Yeah.
And then, if we have time, we'll go through the Trevor Lawrence top pick power rankings.
Who's
going to get the top
Trevor
pick?
Lawrence?
Who's going to get Trevor Lawrence this year?
He's going back in the draft?
He's going back in the draft. He's like, I don't like it. I don't like it here in the pros. I want one more year at college.
Yeah.
But let's start off our first game. We'll spend a little bit more time on these first two games because they were big results. The Titans defeat the Chiefs 27-3. I mean, there's so many questions in this one. Now, the Titans have got back-to-back wins versus the Bills and the Chiefs. I mean, no other team are going to have back-to-back wins that good, although we got to see how the Chiefs finish out this year now. But as far as a surprising result, you got the game we're going to talk about next, Bengals and Ravens, and that was pretty surprising as well. But for Tennessee to win and win by that much and win without Kansas City doing anything, I mean, that would have been unfathomable just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But we saw it just happen here on Sunday. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't wait to really break the game down. Yeah. I mean, listen, as the day was going on, here's two things. First off, I mean, we know Kansas City's defense not good, right? It had issues. Did I have some hope for it last week after what they did with Washington? Yeah, they tried to force the issue. I think you heard me say a lot of people at the line of scrimmage. Didn't really change yesterday. Same thing, except it was a different animal they were playing. They played a team great. They loaded the box. That's one thing I saw. But what did it do? It just left man-to-man coverage. And what I kind of broke down on Football Night in America or the Peacock show last night was the Derrick Henry effect. Yeah, 29 for 86, not a great day. But what they always do is they stay patient with it. So they make you can never just go, I don't think they'll do it this series. You always have to be ready for it. And, of course, you got to be ready for it because he could rip off a 70-yard touchdown at any time. But within that, it put the Kansas City defense in a bind. And now it's man-to-man. with guys that are not the best man-to-man cover corners, covering some receivers who are more talented than them, specifically A.J. Brown. And between that, they knew how to protect it up off a lot of the play-action passes, and Tannehill struck and was like the guy we've seen really the last 2 years in this game, where it was a lot of on-the-money, aggressive, intermediate throws that they just moved the ball up and down the field. So that was that side of the ball for sure.
Yeah, Derrick Henry faced 8 men in the box 41% of the time. That was the third most in the NFL this week, and so they were stacking the box, trying to stop him.
That's what it looked like.
And they did. They slowed him down.
They slowed him down.
Like you mentioned, everything else happened. And he threw more touchdowns in this game than Patrick Mahomes. How about that?
I know, right?
Derrick Henry threw the jump pass touchdown.
That's awesome one to have there.
With that. But, yeah, a decoy in a lot of plays. Tennessee scoring on its first 5 possessions of the first half, led 27-0 at halftime. So,
and that was it.
So is this... I mean, is this the beginning of the end for this season for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Like, how do they come back from this? Because we know the defense is not stopping anyone.
Yeah, right.
And now we got questions with the offense.
Yeah.
And Mahomes got banged up at the end of that game. Thankfully, it looks like he's going to be okay. But is this turning into a lost season for Kansas City?
I don't want to say lost. I'm not going to count them out of this yet. I mean, right now they're not looking like they're a Super Bowl contender, but I'm saying not count them out of the playoff conversation. Certainly not. I'm not going to count them out yet. I've seen too many positives on the offensive side of the ball throughout the year. I know in between the Tyreek drops or the Mahomes stupid interceptions or whatever, there's still too many moments where they go up and down the field. They've lost some heartbreakers, and they've lost, of course, some games that they have nobody to blame but themselves, specifically the Ravens games for sure. The Chargers game, you could argue the same type of thing there in that conversation. So I'm not going to count them out yet, but it just goes back to what we've said, Ahmed. What happened to them yesterday is what teams used to do to them, and that, to me, it goes back. Like you said it, the defense is going to get fixed. All the money, all the resources are on the offensive side. It's going to be on them to correct the football team. And can they ever jump out on a lead and get out on somebody to make that team now one-dimensional and make them have to throw every play? They haven't been able to do that really the whole year, and that's what made them great. What the Titans did to them yesterday, now it doesn't matter, but that was the start of the Mahomes era. Was every game was 14-0 Chiefs, 17-0 Chiefs, and now the defense got to play this crazy disguise, and we're going to some blitzes, and you don't know what to expect, but they can't even get into that type of game. And Tennessee yesterday, listen, I'll be excited to watch the film. I mean, obviously they've played them a little bit. Mike Vrabel and the defense seem to be improving in that Tennessee football team weekly. There's no doubt about that, especially ever since the Jets loss. But I felt like I never saw more times of Mahomes drop back. And if people aren't watching on YouTube or anything like that, you're not watching. How many times did he drop back, hit the top of his drop, look like he wanted to throw the ball, and then bring it back down, and then look at somebody else like he was going to throw the ball, and then bring it back down, and then, oh shit, nobody's open, let me see if I can run around and be Patrick Mahomes and make a play. Oh, I got sacked, or oh, I got hit. I mean, that was the day to me, and that was what I kept saying in the viewing room. I was just going, man, I mean, they must have been all over their deep posts, deep crossers. Again, there's teams that we know that have figured out how to kind of play that, and you play areas, because Kansas City, only one guy on the team runs routes, and that's Travis Kelce. And to me, it looked like they had a good plan to stop those down the field plays. And then when he looks downfield and it's, wait, I'm going to cock to throw to Tyreek Hill. Oh, he's not open. Let me hit, Kelce underneath, who's running a fake shallow cross and coming back out, or one of those type of routes. Every time he looked like that, they looked like they had a linebacker on both sides of him, or two guys on both sides. So it was like, oh, well, you want him to go in? We got a guy there. Oh, you want him to go out? We got a guy there. And that, to me, looked like the theme of the game, and they can never get an answer or get anything going.
And that should have been a weakness that Kansas City was able to expose. There's some injuries in the secondary for Tennessee. They haven't been great in the secondary, but what Tennessee was able to do in this game was to get a pass rush. We saw Harold Landry, Bud Dupree, Autry with 2 sacks, 7 quarterback pressures, kind of a sneak peek to a Robin Hood for an underrated defensive player there.
Yeah, well, he is. You said it. Give him. That's right. Between him, Harold Landry, and Bud Dupree kind of getting healthy. Bud Dupree, I don't know what I want to say. He played the first game or two, and then he missed a few games, and now he's back. So I want to say this is the second, third game in a row where I've gone, ooh, 48 looks like he's getting close to what I used to see with the Steelers. So that'll be impressive. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did want to give them some
and they
some
got
love.
they got that pressure. They blitzed Mahomes 1 of 39 dropbacks. What do you make of that?
Well, exactly what I said there. So would you say they pressured him?
They blitzed him on just one of 39 dropbacks.
Nobody's going to blitz him. Nobody's going to leave one-on-ones anymore with him. There's
And they still got pressure.
They still got pressure because, again, their new thing in the NFL, and the Titans are good at it too, is making it look like a blitz, but it's still a 4-man pressure. And they compromise your people at the line of scrimmage, like, oh, we thought they were blitzing over here, so we slid here with the offensive line, and now they're over here. So there is that aspect. But, yeah, the Chiefs' offensive line has not been great in pass protection the last few weeks. I think that's been a little bit of a bad thing. The Buffalo game, certainly they got dominated a little bit. Yesterday they got dominated a little bit.
Right.
But this is what they're going to see going forward until they can show again that they can be patient and pick you apart short passes and do all that type of offense. They're going to face a lot of challenges like these. Now, again, I don't know if it's going to be quite like this, but Vrabel and the D coordinator, Shane Bowen, right? I know last year they kind of did a coach the defense as a group type of thing. Like it wasn't just one guy was the defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Shane Bowen wasn't the D coordinator last year by title. Or if he was, they were splitting up duties. I know that for sure. And this year they put it on him. And to me, I think you're kind of seeing the fruits of that labor here, and they've just continue to get better and better.
They've been really good. They're a contender now. Addie Field says, damn okay, Derrick Henry. Crown Henry resorted to playing quarterback to bolster his MVP case. And really, when you think about it, I mean, why wouldn't he be in the MVP conversation?
No doubt.
Like, where are they without Derrick Henry? They're nowhere close to where they are off. Without that threat of Derrick Henry and what he can do in the running game.
No, they're not the same team.
They're not the same team at all.
100%. You're exactly right. And I mean, yeah, I'm going to pull up like, no, he needs to be in the MVP conversation. You know, I think if you had to look at it right now, I mean, yeah, him, Brady, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford. Am I missing anybody else there? Maybe Joe Burrow's coming up the ranks here in that conversation. Excuse me, as I burped into the microphone.
Yeah, but he's got to be more so than I think we've seen in the past position players because it's always a quarterback.
Yeah.
Wins it.
No,
I think he's got to be a legit talking point.
Yeah, Dak Prescott. I think you're right about that.
You know what you haven't said lately?
Josh Allen?
No, Pete Demolitis. When's the last time you said like
I probably said
the
it last.
whole? We always say Pete, producer Pete. You
right.
know?
It might have been a show or two. I've missed out on it. You're right.
Okay.
It's been a little low, but
right.
no doubt. And the Shane Bowen point too.
Yeah.
Pete got in my ear. He goes, yeah, he was the outside linebacker coach last year, so he looked it up.
Got it.
Good job by Pete Demolitis.
BPL Bet says, is it time to treat Tennessee as a contender? So the PointsBet AFC Championship odds right now: Buffalo plus 225, Baltimore second plus 450. Then you have Tennessee. Then you have the Chargers. And then you have Cleveland and Kansas City.
I mean, definitely it's time to count them as a real contender. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
would you put them behind Buffalo and Baltimore?
No, not Baltimore. No. Do I think Buffalo is still better than Tennessee? In my heart of hearts, I do,
Sure.
but it's not by much.
Yeah.
It's not by much.
The game wasn't by much.
It wasn't by much, right. It's a close football game, but I think, if they played 10 times, my heart wants to say I think Buffalo's going to win that 6, maybe 7 of those times.
And the crazy thing is, we forget, but this season could have gone sideways on Tennessee right off the bat. Like, it was not a good start for them, and it was like the deficiencies on defense were like, well, they're not going to be able to make up for them on offense.
Yeah, no, and they've figured it out. I know. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's finally got it going on that side of the ball. And where I get in this conversation a little bit with, this is where, listen, I know we talked about, me included, AFC before the year. Oh my gosh, the quarterbacks and some of these players, and the AFC is loaded. But what I've come to, and to make your point about what you're asking me with Tennessee is, I mean, of course they're one of the top teams. First off, when you really look at the top teams, Cincinnati, Vegas, Tennessee, Buffalo, Baltimore, the Chargers, Cleveland, let's say Pittsburgh, all right, New England, Indy, the top 10 teams, Kansas City, top 11 teams in the AFC. To me, they all have some glaring issues about their team where I just go, I don't know if there's as many complete teams in the AFC as there is in the NFC. Arizona, I don't really question either side of the ball, right? Tampa Bay, I don't question either side of the ball. There's nothing to question. The Rams, there's really not much to question. Dallas, again, all right, maybe the defense isn't like quite the Super Bowl quad, but there's not much to question. Green Bay, there's not much to question.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So there's when I look at the NFC right now, I go, man, there's some teams that are really complete. In the AFC, I think it's more up for grabs because, the Chargers, they can't stop a run game for anything. Cleveland, who the knows what you're going to get from them on a weekly basis right now, right? Baltimore, they're 5-2, but like we've talked about, they could be 2-5 just as easily. Buffalo's been certainly the most consistent team.
Yeah.
Vegas is another one that you look at. Okay, I got a few questions here and there, but they've straightened out their offensive line. The Gruden thing seems to have settled down, and the defense keeps hanging in there and playing tough. And then you look at Cincinnati, and you go, damn.
Well, yeah.
I actually maybe have less questions about them than maybe any of the other teams other than Tennessee and the AFC right now.
Which I'm kind of surprised we didn't see them in those top AFC championship odds for points bet. And let's get right into the Bengals because they beat the Ravens 41-17. And Joe Burrow is Joe Cool, and we got the new Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
I think
you're Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase.
That's a great way to say it. My dad a few weeks ago, when they played the Thursday night game against the Jaguars, I'll give Big Phil, the big f***er, some credit here.
We like to do that.
He goes, you know who Joe Burrow is, Christopher? Christopher, I got it. So he talks to me. Christopher, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. You know who Joe Burrow is? He's like, he's the modern day Joe Montana. That's who he is. And I totally see what he's saying with the comparison. Just a great rhythmic thrower and an underrated athlete. But are the Bengals that's what I called them all day yesterday, the big play Bengals, the biggest big play team in football right now. You look at what they do. It's like they don't score from the 5. They score from maybe from the other 5 or the
even
55
running the ball.
or
Joe
the 45.
Joe Mixon's big
right.
run. Yeah.
They are unbelievably explosive, and you're right. Ja'Marr Chase may be the best. Listen, I don't know. He might be the best receiver in football already as a rookie.
You would put him as the best receiver.
He's up in that conversation. He is. If you would hear me the last 2 weeks in the viewing room, he is. You cannot cover him man to man. You can't. You cannot. Nobody in football can cover Ja'Marr Chase. Nobody. He is so fast and explosive off the line of scrimmage. Think about the slant he had yesterday, right? The slant route, caught it, spun around, runs for a touchdown. He scares everybody with his explosiveness that he can sell that go route on the outside, and then he puts the brakes on with his outside foot, and he comes underneath. And because of that explosion, it leads to he's open on a slant every time. And if he's not open on the go route, what do we see? Because the DB's scared as shit, Joe Burrow throws it behind, and he catches that. So his speed and explosiveness almost makes him unstoppable one-on-one. And now you're seeing the tight end come along, and, of course, running game's going. The Bengals are legit. As I said last week, they're not going anywhere. So get used to this. They're here to stay, and they're a playoff team, and maybe they can be a Super Bowl team, as oddly enough as that is. But there's not a lot of weaknesses on their team.
Yeah, and we've talked about how in previous years they've had a good core of receivers. They got other players outside of just Ja'Marr Chase.
Yes.
And we see the tight end now coming on National Tight Ends Day, which you guys talked about quite a bit. This is what happens in our media climate right now.
Yeah.
The day began, I had no idea it was National Tight Ends Day. And then by the end of the day, I was like, okay, we get it. It's national.
It's overplayed. Please back the clock.
How does that happen? It begins as something I had no idea, and then by the end of the day, I was like, all right, I've heard this.
I know. It was
so
a national day
now.
For everything, right? When I first heard it, I was like,
is that real? Is that a real thing?
Do they mean it's a really? I was really thinking at first, is it like a tight end? We're talking about, let's get buns that are tight.
You're like, this is right up my alley.
Jane Fonda workout. This is great.
You go to Tirico. You go to Tirico. You go. I got my top 10 already.
Yeah.
Good, tight, firm rears.
Right.
And he goes, that's not what it is.
That's not what we're
Chris.
talking about. Are they going to have National Quarterback Day? What the this day and age, we got to be fair to everybody. So
that is true.
This will be racist towards National Guard Day if they don't have it.
It's racist towards
National
guards.
Tackles.
You're right.
National Defensive Tackle Day. It's racist against them if we don't have that.
Uzoma with 3 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. Both those touchdowns gave him the lead, too, in what was a back-and-forth game until it wasn't at the end. But it's not just the offense for Cincinnati. You know, they're 5-2 with. I mean, you can't hold Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens to 17 points without some standout performances on the defensive side, too. And it is Jake TC 2001. This is damn okay. Bengals defensive unit. Lou Anarumo is doing an amazing job with this unit. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's obvious it was the team's focus the past 2 off seasons. It's paying off. Who day? So you got Trey Hendrickson, 8 quarterback pressures.
Yeah.
You got Sam Hubbard, 9. You got Larry
Ogunjobi, right.
7 quarterback pressures. I mean, they were all over the place on Lamar.
No, they were. I think the 2 things that jumped out to me about the game is the Ravens' run game had no chance other than Lamar. Few scrambles and a few of the quarterback design runs. That was the only thing that got off all day. Am I correct about that? I mean, I don't think the stats were, if any of the runners were worth a damn, right?
No.
And that made it into a little bit of a, hey, drop back pass game, certainly. And Cincinnati, as we've talked about, has a good secondary too. Yeah. And slowly but surely they made a few stops, and Baltimore couldn't stop Cincinnati in the second half. Plain and simple.
Season low 48% completion percentage for Lamar, only threw for 250 yards, had 88 yards rushing. You're right, he was the only guy.
It seemed like he was the only guy going for the most part of the day.
And that's the question, right? Isn't that the question with the Ravens that we've had the past few years? Like, does Lamar have enough around him?
Yeah, I mean,
They do to win games against teams they're supposed to be. They do to win, games against good teams, even like the Chargers. But to do it all the way through the playoffs, it's like he has to put the team on his shoulders.
Well, because the defense is, again, really well coached and creative. We know that, but maybe not as dominant as years past. Offensive line's been spotty, a little bit throughout the year. I do think they're going to be able and be able to hang in there if the run game is not dominating. I do. The game slipped away from them a little bit yesterday. Here's one of the things that I found interesting about the game too, and maybe it's out there and I don't even know. The Ravens got to like the 40-yard line of Cincinnati 2 times during the game and punted away, right? Where I was like, man, Justin Tucker from 58 yards almost seems like it's automatic. Like, if it's under 63, I'm like, let's kick it. Like, well, who cares with him? But they decided to punt and play the field goal position type of football game. It was 20-17, and they were on the Bengals 41. They punted, and that led to the 3-play 90-yard drive where he throws the slant to Ja'Marr Chase, and he takes off for that long touchdown catch. And that made it 27-17. But I just wondered if there was something, and maybe, again, I can't hear all these games at all times.
Right.
But that was kind of a surprising moment overall, just because I thought there was 2 separate times where I went, no, they're going to kick a long field goal. And they decided to play the field goal position game. And, of course, Cincinnati's offense has it rolling right now. Cincinnati, from this standpoint, matches up good against Baltimore. Their drop-back pass game is not a hold the ball very long type of pass game. So that takes away some of the trickeration the Ravens do, right? Mm-hmm. They love to, confuse you and all that. But if you're getting the ball out of your hands quick, it kind of, mutes that point a little.
Right.
And then they just pick their points here and there to go, all right, now we'll run a play action and I'll hit Uzoma on the corner post for a touchdown. But really an impressive game by the Cincinnati Bengals.
They're rolling.
They're
rolling now. They're in their. They didn't even need to do a rebrand, which you have talked about for years on this podcast.
I mean, their uniforms look awesome. I think
when they win, they look way better.
Oh well, the Nike-ification of their uniform is cool.
It's helped.
Right,
yes.
It has helped, and it actually. I mean, you're right. Winning cures all.
Like in Joe Burrow throwing dimes, Ja'Marr Chase in that uniform, it makes it look better.
Well, the helmet looks better because the uniforms are more calm.
Yeah.
So there's not as much going on.
And they told you to your face.
No way.
They're not rebranding.
No way. From the ownership family, there's no way the helmet's changing.
They go, stop talking about it.
Right.
Yeah, stop talking about it.
Don't ask our coach about this again.
All right, so Cincinnati Bengals, rebrand or not, they are awesome. They're 5-2, and they are rolling. Could be even better. I mean, they had that game against the Packers. They lost field goals back and forth.
No doubt.
The kicker thought they won that game.
Yeah,
so.
Listen, both games. They could have won the Packers game and the Bears game that they lost in Chicago, where Joe Burrow threw 3 interceptions on 3 straight plays.
Yeah.
That game was there to be had, too. It was going to be ugly, but it was there to be had, and they kind of messed it up. But I think we've seen now they're battle-tested.
Yep.
They have found okay, wait, this is what it takes to win, and I think that's what's impressive about them.
A change in mentality, too. It's like, all right, we win these games. We're the team that wins these games.
No doubt. That's another thing. Listen, that's where I'm amazed by the modern-day quarterback a little bit. Oh, Patrick Mahomes, so talented. He's going to go to Kansas City? They haven't been good in forever. It's just like, and they just what? Kansas City is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Cincinnati seems like it's going in that direction too.
Yeah.
It's just a special guy, a quarterback that changes the way you think about their football team, and hopefully Joe Burrow can change the stigma around them forever.
It's like when Jared Goff went to the Rams. All of a sudden they were good. All right, maybe a little different there, but the Rams we're going to talk about
You're
next.
funny.
And we're going to do it and give me the headlines presented by Hyundai. This is the earliest we've ever talked about my Detroit Lions. It takes them playing a team that is in the Super Bowl discussion.
No
That
doubt.
is the Rams, and they were in this game. And
What?
Full credit to Dan Campbell
Thank you.
and the coaching staff.
Thank you.
For pulling out all the stops, onside kick, 2 fake punts. It all worked.
Yes.
Unfortunately for the Lions, the offense didn't work that much.
No,
Although they
that's
had
right.
a lot of yards. I think they had over 400 yards.
Well,
on a
it seemed
tough
like they had the
Rams
ball the
defense.
whole game because of all the freaking trick plays.
Had
You
the
kept
ball.
going unbelievable.
Had the ball a lot, but eventually it was Cooper Kupp once again on 10 catches, 156 yards, a couple touchdowns. Rams, the Lions could not get him off the field on third downs. That's why
Yeah.
they never wanted to give him the ball.
Right.
9 of 13 on third downs. And it seems like one of those games where we've been saying it all year about the Lions. Give them credit. They were
Yeah.
in games, and they were. They fought, and they were in this thing. But it was like
They're just not as talented. Plain
no
and
one
simple.
thought at any point when the final whistle happened that the Rams weren't going to figure out a way to pull it out.
No doubt about it. No doubt. I mean, really, again, Dan,
What's the headline? You didn't get the headline.
I think it's Trading Places.
There we go.
Trading Places, one of my favorite movies ever, okay? Trading Places. Oh, look what it's done. The Rams with Matthew Stafford are a Super Bowl contender. I mean, hey, of course. It's been an amazing move for Matthew Stafford. And, of course, it just makes you so aware of how differently he's viewed now. And I think, at least in my opinion, and I think in football world this goes with it too, where teams view the Rams in the coaching world and the front office world as a whole different animal now with Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Before it was, hey, yeah, they're going to manage the game, and McVay's good, and they're going to run the ball, and their defense, and they're going to play tough. Great, yeah, great. Now it's like we saw yesterday. Oh, we're kind of losing in a few phases of the football game. It doesn't matter. We've talked about this before. The run game's good today, but we're not just killing them. Okay, well, doesn't matter. Matthew Stafford's here, and we got Cooper Kupp and all these other good receivers to go along with it, and that's where the Rams are special. Dan Campbell coached that game to perfection. Perfection. There's just only so much you can do when the talent level on the other sideline is far greater than the one on your side.
I'm choking on my energy drink over here.
Good. That's what she deserves. It's called
I don't know
karma.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You're right. And here's what's funny to me. I mean, the key play in the game
Yeah.
was at the end of the game. Jared Goff with the pick in the end zone, got pressure up the middle from Aaron Donald, their stud.
Right.
Threw it into the arms of Jalen Ramsey, their other stud.
Right.
I don't think that pass ever had a chance to be completed. It seemed like a super tight window with dudes all over it. But that's what the game came down to. A play in the fourth quarter, and for the Lions, that's all you can ask for. This was interesting. I saw for Goff, he had 4.3 air yards per pass. That was the lowest this week in the NFL. So it turns out it was Jared Goff. It wasn't that Sean McVay, this is how he coaches. It wasn't that, it's like no matter what team he was on in this game, he was going to have the lowest air yards in the NFL.
Yeah, this is what he is again, and this is why everyone needs to back off when you think like just because the team's good, the quarterback's good. Like, Ahmed, I used to have I've had coaches, prominence, have made comments, and this is going to sound like piling on, but I'm going to just add to the point of what you're making here, of oh, they don't pay Sean McVay enough. They don't pay, really good coaches who are going their quarterback sucks. I'm sorry to say that. I don't mean to be like that guy, but their quarterback sucks. The fact that they go to the playoffs and do that every year is unbelievable. I mean, it is. I know he was viewed by, some coaches around football that were in amazement that he can make it work all the time that way. And now you're seeing he doesn't have to manage the game. They're just a different team. They're pressure on you at all times. And yeah, as we've talked about and as I've talked about before, and you know this and you watch football enough to know this too, he's just not capable of making any special plays to help your team win. And when you're making $34 million a year, you're going to get extra criticism because of that. So, yeah, it was a bad interception. At that point of the game, which was 25-19 Rams at that point. And then, even the interception at the end of the game. I saw Dan Campbell talking to him he was to me on the sidelines after the interception happened. I think he was going like, "Hey, dude, the check down to the running back there. We need to go win the game. A 4-yard completion to DeAndre Swift is doing nothing for us right there. Like, let's push the ball down the field." And that was an errant throw too. But man, yeah, it came back to Campbell gave the offense some opportunities with some of the onside kicks, 2 fake punts. They didn't quite capitalize on those. I think, 10-0 early on, just not enough of a lead to say, oh, the Rams are scared and you got them boxed in a corner.
And this is a theme for the Lions, not to make this all about Detroit, but they've been able to drive the ball. They've been close. They've gone for some 4th downs against some teams, and they've gotten yards. They've not gotten points.
Right.
And that's
the problem.
They've been in some of these games.
And that's where good quarterbacks, they get points. Good quarterbacks get on the 9-yard line and throw a laser. Or buy a little time in the pocket and then throw a laser.
Yep.
That's the difference between the great top 8, top 10 quarterbacks in football and the rest is 3rd downs. They can make magic, and then coach can't always dial up the right play on the 10-yard line going in when they're rushing 4 and there's 7 guys in coverage and we only have 20 yards of field to work with. Man, those windows are tight. And that's where guys that can throw freaking laser beams really come in handy. You okay over there? You going to make it?
2 more things. I'm barely going to make it to the end of this. Cooper Kupp, we mentioned his game. First player in the Super Bowl era with 800-plus receiving yards, 9+ receiving touchdowns in the team's first 7 games of the season.
Unreal.
He's obviously playing over his skis a little bit here.
Yeah.
But I mean, have we maybe underestimated him in years past?
Well, why? Let's put it together.
Quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, he couldn't show his skill set. I mean, they didn't want to run him down the field on 30-yard corner routes because they were like, shit, we'll only hit 4 out of 10. So that play. Let's scrap that. Let's find another way to go get him in the flat and throw him the ball 3 yards down the field. You know what I mean? So it plays hand to hand. That's what sucks about football. You could be awesome at your position, but if you don't have the right support around you, nobody will ever know. He's awesome. And, now between all the Wes Welker, Edelman stuff he does for them, they got a lot more plays that stretch the field as well. He's really good. What I love about the Rams is like what we just talked about with the Bengals, and we've hit on it with Devontae Adams and the Packers a little bit. And I know we'll get there in a few minutes. It's just that they go to the well and drink water until there's no more water in the well, and then they go, okay, shit, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But they don't go, oh, well, we called that play twice already. We can't do it again.
We'll keep doing it until you stop.
Exactly right, and I have great respect for that.
All right, so Matthew Stafford, last note here, joins the 300-touchdown club. 7th fastest in NFL history to get there.
I bet.
All 6 ahead of him here. I wonder if you can name them. 3 are Hall of Famers. 3 will be Hall of Famers.
Okay, all 6 that are a faster pace of him.
Faster to 300 touchdowns.
Well, Rodgers is the fastest of all time.
So he's in there, yeah.
Yeah, Rodgers, nobody was faster than Rodgers. I think he beat everybody by like 11, 12 games. So Rodgers,
yep.
Peyton Manning,
yep.
Dan Marino.
Yep.
I'm going to say Brady.
Yep.
He is Brady. Okay.
Hey.
I wasn't sure. I thought maybe a slower start to his career with numbers. That's 4 I got. Damn.
2 more.
2 more.
1 recently retired.
1 recently retired, which is going to be like, I'm going to choke here because I'm like, who retired lately? And what's the other one? Old guy?
Older guy.
Elway.
Yeah. Favre is the older guy.
Favre.
And the other guy,
Right.
you hung around with him yesterday, Drew Brees.
Oh, duh.
But that's 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And 3 will be Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Stafford?
He's a Hall of Fame talent. Hopefully he gets to play on this team for a number of years to where everyone could go, everyone else can notice it. I feel like people in Detroit and only people who really follow quarterbacks really appreciate how good Matthew Stafford is or was. To me, that's it. Everybody else you got to fight the narrative with. I mean, including in the NFL, which now they're waking up to it too. But again, I think I told you back when he was traded, I can't tell you the number of coaches who, like, when he got traded, where it was either 1, is he that good to you? Is he really that good? Or it was 2, hey, I studied Jared Goff this year. We were, thinking about trading him and looking at him when we heard he was available. I just can't get over how great he is. Like, I think it's like one of
Stafford,
those.
you mean
Stafford,
yeah.
sorry, I said Goff. Sorry.
Goff, yeah.
Exactly right. I mean, one of the greatest arms in the history of the sport. One of the greatest throwers in the history of the sport, no doubt about that.
And has a grasp of the. I mean, it seems like he just is so comfortable. It's like Joe Burrow. We were talking about him. Same thing with Matt Stafford. He's been doing it for longer.
No doubt.
Big win for the Rams, even though it was tougher than they probably anticipated.
Emotional
Nothing tough about what happened with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Chicago
According
Bears.
to who you talked to.
That was, everything was difficult for the Chicago team. 38-3, the final score. The headline of that game?
Field of screams. Oh, my gosh, the Buccaneers front's coming after me. I mean, poor Justin Fields. He had no chance yesterday. Absolutely no chance. I mean, at any point in the football game. 5
turnovers, lost 2 fumbles, 3 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, they were overwhelmed, period.
And they did the press conference in his shoulder pads.
Well,
I mean, like that. He just went right there.
Well, that's when you just know. He's just like, let me get it over with so I can go shower and be
why
done
does
with
someone
it.
do that?
Because it's like there might have been a dead time. He's probably the rookie. The rookie sometimes has to be the guy that's kind of at the front of the line.
Yeah.
And they were probably like, he could have been walking off the field and they'd be like, hey, I mean, you can get up there right now before coach and go right now. Like coach is back in the locker room and he probably was just like, yeah, I'll go in right now. So then you're done.
Yeah.
You've answered your questions. Now you can get dressed, go see your family after the shower, whatever, friends you got there waiting for you, anything like that. But, it was an assault on that Bears offense.
I mean, this is a situation where, and well chronicled, you know, your evaluation of Justin Fields in the draft process, right? You've seen him play since then. You've been impressed with a lot of the things you've seen on the field with him.
100%.
This is a chance where you could take a victory lap against Justin Fields.
No, we're not doing that.
Putting this
That's
on
not
Justin
fair.
Fields.
That's not fair, and we better not hear the hate from Justin Fields. I've been impressed with everything about him. Do I still want to see, better play yesterday and to wait, it's become a passing game and let me see you throw the ball into some more tight windows? Yeah, certainly. I still have those questions. But, he's done a really good job. He should be proud of what he's done out there. They were overwhelmed up front. They got the run game going a little early. And that's where I need to, again, I'm watching a lot of games. I just need to go back and see what they did. I just came away thinking it looked like they were in the shotgun way too much. That would be the biggest thing I think jumped out to me. But all in all,
keep this in mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
On that same note, because Andy Foster tweeted in, he goes, I felt for Justin Fields, same thing you said.
Right.
Does it seem like Nagy is designing plays completely opposed to Fields' strength?
Well,
Barely no bootleg, no designed quarterback
That's
runs.
That's what it seemed like to me
yesterday.
Crushed
by the Tampa D.
I'm glad to hear him say that. Again, hey, on Monday, I can't tell you everything that happened in every game. I got notes here. I've written down the themes of the games and the things that jumped out to me. But to me, to get into specific about, what they were doing schematically, offensively, I don't know. My feel was that, as I just said, and thank you for that question, was that I kept looking over there going, why is he in the shotgun again? Why is he in the shotgun again? What? Why are they playing this style of football? And that it didn't seem to play into their hand at all at any point. And, of course, Tampa's offense is borderline unstoppable, to add to that. I mean, again.
Even without Antonio Brown.
It doesn't really matter.
Because the most unstoppable receiver.
Yeah, no Gronk either.
No Gronk, yeah.
It just doesn't matter. They have a great creative scheme, and then they can overpower people. So far, we've seen the only defensive lines that give Tampa issues are quick defensive lines, and that was the Rams. Other than that, if you're big, they're bigger, and they say, F you, we don't care. And that's where I'm just amazed by them. But, yeah, it seemed like we went back to the old, we're going to throw it on Tampa Bay with that pass rush and your offensive line. I know Tampa's banged up in the secondary and you think you might, but that's not your team. You're not that. That's not playing to your bread and butter. That's going outside the box of what your team is and then just hoping we can take advantage of a team in an area they're weak at, but we're also really weak at. Well, they're the Super Bowl champs, and they're not that weak at that. And when they pin you into that, one corner of, you're going to get in the shotgun and throw all day, you have no chance because your team's not that great at pass protecting that way. They're a good run-blocking team. And we haven't seen anybody run the ball in Tampa, and that's why I'm thankful for that question to where I just was confused why I kept seeing Justin Fields in the shotgun all game long.
Yeah. All right, so Tom Brady, 4 touchdowns, all in the first half. I didn't think he'd play in the second half. He played actually quite a bit in the second half.
Yeah,
game
they did.
Over, basically at halftime. Got a 600th touchdown. They gave that ball away. You saw that. Mike
was
Evans
amazing.
Gave that ball away.
Amazing.
And the fan graciously gave it back, which I am against.
You're against that?
Yes.
Why?
Get your fair value for it, right?
Well,
we're talking about
would think,
multi-million-dollar athletes and franchises worth $1 billion.
Who's to say they didn't do that? You don't know that. I would bet you.
Tough to see.
I would
Tough to
listen.
see
I know those ball boys and everybody in Tampa. They are good people, and Brady's a good person too. He's made one mistake in his life.
How much would that get on the like an auction? Sotheby's auction at 600 touchdowns. Never been done before. Tom Brady.
Yeah, probably $100,000 or more.
Maybe more.
I
right?
mean, you're right. I mean, definitely.
Are they going to pay him that much money?
I don't know. You're right.
Probably not.
Probably not. But the guy, Tampa.
Pete's saying he got $1,000 gift card. Is that true to the team store?
All right. Well, listen.
That ball would have gotten more than $1,000.
Let's keep track of this story then, because he needs to get more than that. He needs to get a Tom Brady autographed jersey and helmet.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. He got Pete's saying he got an autographed signed helmet.
Okay.
So that's pretty good.
We're getting there.
And another game ball.
Okay. Probably going to get tickets, maybe.
They probably need to. Yeah.
But will it? Yeah, exactly. Pete says get another 100,000. Like, I think you go to Sotheby's and you go, hey, what would this have gotten if you were to auction this off? And if they go, this could have gotten $500,000, that fan should get $500,000. That's what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying. That's not going to happen. Nor if you were that guy in the stands, I know Ahmed Freed, you would have gave that ball back.
You know why?
Tell Mr. Brady I said he's welcome.
It's a crappy feeling. Like that puts the fan in a really crappy position, right? Because you're obviously a fan of the team. You love the guy.
Right.
You don't want to be seen as an adversary to the team. So it puts the fan in a really uncomfortable position, which I feel like that's why the team should step up and not do that. Go give us the ball. We'll go to Sotheby's. We'll get whatever the fair market value of that ball was. We'll pay it to you. Yeah. I hope they do that. I hope teams are listening and do that in the future because I think that's only fair. But that's my rant. Ran over. Another touchdown for Tom Brady, who continues to defy all other things. Another note on the defensive side.
Game was easy for them.
Super easy.
Yeah.
Jason Pierre-Paul, 2 sacks, forced a fumble despite saying post-game that he was playing with a fractured finger and a torn rotator cuff.
Yeah.
There's got dudes all over the field doing crazy things.
They got a bunch of renegades and freak shows who love football and don't care. Oh, what? My fingers are blown off from fireworks. Who gives a shit? I'm going to keep playing. He just doesn't care. He's a baller. He is. I mean, him and Shaq Barrett seemed like they were all over Justin Fields. I don't know. Every time I looked up or somebody on the edge, Justin Fields was running for his life. But hey, Tampa, obviously, one of the best teams in football, if not the best, and. Yeah. When they have the short field off of some turnovers and it's unstoppable. I mean, their first 3 drives, it's in 32-yard drive, a 40-yard drive, and a 35-yard drive.
Yeah.
That's just not going to win you games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Give them short fields, they score their first 3 possessions.
It's amazing.
Last thing, Matt Nagy, does he make it through the year?
He'll make it through the year. I do think that. Because they're going to hang around. They got enough talent to hang around.
You think?
To hang around, yes.
What if it just falls off a cliff?
I don't know. I have a hard time thinking it will just because I think their defense will hang in there. Yeah. And to what we saw yesterday, they can run the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where I want to go back for what the happened Wednesday podcast because that's one of the things I really would like to know is what was Chicago doing on that side of the ball? And but Matt Nagy, to me, listen again here, last thing on this.
Yes.
This is where I thought I don't want to play Justin Fields thing was a political play from the get-go because he didn't want this to happen. Wait, he looks kind of good. We're still not winning games, and I can't find ways to really use him the right way, and now the spotlight goes on me. He wanted to buy another year of that, and now it's here, and now the chatter like you're talking about is going to start. I say he makes it through the year, but if it continues on this route, it's going to be dicey whether he's back.
Dicey times in Chicago right now. That was Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai. We think Hyundai. We think Under Armour. The only way is through, and it has come to that part of the show where Chris and I get practice at reading a live read here and waxing poetic about Under Armour. Are you ready, Chris?
Yes, go ahead.
We do like this because I do have those Steph Currys. Wear them all the time.
Yep.
I'm not wearing them on the pod today. I got my white shoes today, but we're supported by Under Armour.
Yep.
And just like us, Under Armour wants to give you an edge.
They are focused on performing better and taking their game to the next level, like Ahmed and I always go a next level.
Level up. We level up. We like to level up.
That's what we do.
Everything from running shoes that propel you forward to hoops shoes that give you insane grip. They do squeak all the time when I'm walking around here in the hallways. They even make hoodies that reflect energy, Chris.
Yes. We're not just about the end result, winning or glory.
Although that's good.
It is good, but we like the work we put in.
Yes. Under Armour is about the hard work. You're right. The dedication, the cycle of training, competing, and recovering, Chris.
We give you advantages, but not shortcuts, Ahmed. The only way
is through.
Boom.
We've gotten so good at that.
We are.
Right there. Pete, what'd you think of that one? Was that our best one so far?
Best one so far. Way to go. And, like, Steph Curry's kind of on fire, right?
Curry's on, yeah. He went off.
Triple-double to start the year. I mean, I know
in a bad shooting game, but then came back and was like a perfect 9 for 9, 25 points in the first quarter.
Under Armour guys are kind of killing it right now. I mean, of course, Brady, Steph Curry. There's somebody else I'm missing, too, that's I'm blanking on. But
Don't
I just
say
remember
it because
thinking,
it might not be an Under Armour guy.
No.
I like it. The only way is through. I think that is actually good because sometimes you don't want to do something. You got to. The only way is through.
No doubt.
You got no choice.
Yeah.
Just go through it.
Right. You got to go through it. You got to put in the hard work. You want the gut. You want the glory. You know. You got to put your guts into it a little bit.
Because if you don't, you'll never get a damn okay. Presented by Under Armour.
Damn. I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay.
Yeah. No. I mean, yes.
I'm okay.
The legal gambleizing.
Oh, baby. I am Chris Sims. I'm okay. Damn.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and this is the hashtag National Tight End Day edition. Pete, I told you. I think we've jumped the shark on National Tight End Day. No, I knew it was coming.
Best tight end I've seen.
What?
Best tight end I've seen. Kylie Jenner started off. We're talking about tight ends, the position. Sorry,
right?
Oh,
Pete,
my
this is what we're gonna do.
I thought we were talking about tight ends.
Just to make sure that we haven't, hung on to something that now is out of style. We're gonna go next level on it. So you have to bleep out and take out the whole
me.
thing.
You didn't think I could be proper with this conversation the whole time?
What about Zach Ertz? Good rear quarters, right?
Yeah, pretty
strong
good.
Thighs,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe not strong enough to beat out Dallas Goedert, but still. Okay.
Yeah, right. Well, they're a little older in the glutes and the end part than
you
Dallas
lose a little
Goedert.
bit. You lose some toning. Yeah.
Right.
So Zach Ertz, we start with the Cardinals defeating the Texans 31-5. I saw a video after the game. Cliff Kingsbury gave him a game ball, so he got a game ball in his first game with the Cardinals. 3 catches, 66 yards, a touchdown in his Cardinals debut. What do you think about him as a weapon now with Kyler, giving him just another weapon to use?
I think it's a little bit like it's another weapon to use like you're talking about, and it's another angle of the offense that you'll have to think about. Okay, there goes Christian Kirk on a post, and DeAndre Hopkins is coming behind him on a 20-yard in cut, and we got A.J. Green on the other side running a 20-yard comeback, and you want to play deep coverages. All right, it's like what Kansas City can maybe do with Kelsey at times, where you see, all right, you want to play deep, but now we got Ertz one-on-one underneath against a linebacker, or he understands how to read the zone coverage and where to sit, and now, man, that's pretty good. Our check down guy is Ertz for 8 yards, Ertz for 10 yards, or Ertz for a 47-yard touchdown down the middle.
But I kind of thought it was over for Ertz, right? I was like, that was the idea in Philly. It was like, his time is come and gone.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be like, I don't think we're going to see a lot of plays like we saw yesterday. You could see he's not quite as fast as he used to be.
Yeah.
It's like he's going to be dependable, read the coverage, first down guy. That's what he's going to be. It's 3rd and 6, 7-yard pass to Ertz, first down. He's going to be like you saw Jason Witten towards the end of his career, if that makes sense. That to me is where I see it going. You just go, wait, he's smart. He knows what to do. He's going to understand the rules of our offense. He's going to understand if the safety plays the leverage this way, we want him to run this route. If the linebacker plays the leverage this way, we want him to run that route, right? So that's where he's golden. That's where, offensive guys love a guy like Zach Ertz because they make the coach right more than wrong.
Something else to kind of have to keep your eye on if you're trying to defend against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. You also got to keep your eye on Chase Edmonds, I guess, and James Conner. They combined for over 140 yards. And get this, too, Chris. This was the first game in Kyler's career with 3 touchdowns off play-action passes. So that running attack helped Kyler in the passing game.
If anybody's been listening to my podcast or anything here over the last 7 weeks, Arizona's a little different this year. They stay patient with the run game. They can move people. There is more 2 tight end sets and running sets and play action pass. And hey, this is where stats can lie. The Texans defense is good. They're a good defense.
It's just nothing early.
Well, it's just how long can they hold on? Yeah. It's just like last week they played the Colts. It was 10-3 in the third quarter. It's just when you're out there, it's like we've talked about this before. When you're out there every 4 plays, you're going to break down eventually. And, that's basically what we saw there yesterday. We saw the Texans defense keep them in the football game, but they absolutely have no freaking offense at all. And, of course, against that defense with Cardinals, they got talent and all the things they do. I mean, Marcus Golden looks like he's found his, he looks like the guy that left Arizona to go to the Giants a few years ago. And I want to go, what the hell? Why didn't you look like this with my Giants? Like, what the hell? But, yeah, I just they continue to impress me because they show the ability to win games different ways. Like, yesterday wasn't, beautiful. They kind of just hung in there. And, okay, we got a safety. But they didn't crumble. They didn't make any other mistakes after that. They got the game back in control. And Kyler's just got a good feel right now of, let me take a whole shot down the right sideline to A.J. Green. This is a tight one, but I'm going to throw the laser in there. Or just knowing when to kind of play it safe. And they're doing a lot of good things on both sides of the football, Arizona, and that's why, of course, they're 7-0.
Yeah, held Houston to 2 for 13 on third downs. This is coming off a good game against Cleveland where they were able to keep them in check for most of the game. So it's Arizona legit 7-0 team. I don't think anyone was doubting that anyway, but it's just they win multiple ways.
Yes, that's the thing.
And Kyler, in the MVP discussion for sure, he is the fourth quarterback since the merger to start and win each of his team's first 7 games and have a completion percentage over 70%.
Wow.
The other 3
7-0, you're saying,
7-0,
and 70%.
And 70%.
Well, I know 2 for sure.
The previous 3 all won the MVP that season.
All right, so Brady and Manning. The years they went, like the Denver year, right, with Manning we're talking about, and then Brady 2007, right? And then, wait, hold on. And 7-0.
7-0.
Did
70%.
Mahomes go?
Mahomes, no.
All right, who is it?
Your boy Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, shit.
So they all did it, and they all ended up winning the MVP.
So that was Rodgers in 2011 where he won the MVP, but they didn't win the Super Bowl. They got upset by the Giants.
Pete confirms that.
Okay.
So, Kyle, if you want to make Kyler your front runner for MVP, I'm not going to argue against that.
No, I don't. I think it's hard to argue against it. It is. And listen, the only thing that's going to be a bad thing for Kyler is there's 3 or other 4 freaks out there right now who are like we talked about, Derrick Henry and Brady, the way they're playing, and Stafford. But yeah, I think. If you had to choose one right now, who would you choose? Who's the
MVP?
Yeah, who's the MVP of football? I know we're not at the halfway point, but just gut feeling. You seemed like you leaned hard Henry a little bit.
I did. I would put Henry close.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what happens here on out,
I get
obviously.
it.
But I think undefeated season quarterback Kyler Murray.
Well, that would be
makes
amazing.
That offense go. Who are the Cardinals without Kyler Murray?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right.
So
I hear you there. You're right.
I think Kyler is the leader
the
right now for me.
Yeah,
I think
he's in
the
the leader house. Is what
do
you're
you
telling
think?
me.
Would you agree?
I think I would too. I think I probably would as well. Yeah.
Stafford's been great. Rams would still be pretty good without
all
him.
the guys we've mentioned have been great. There's no doubt. You're right. To me, I think it would be that. I think the top 3 though.
Points bet says Kyler is number 1 right now.
Murray, Brady, and Henry.
They say Dak is number 2.
Oh, I know Dak. We can't
Cowboy
forget about
boost.
Dak.
He'd get the emotional, come back after that injury last year.
Yep.
They got Allen and Brady tied for 3rd.
Okay.
Then Stafford, then Rodgers, then Lamar, Herbert, and then Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry should not be that far down.
No,
although that's just a function of a quarterback always wins it, I guess.
It is. It's a little stupid at times. There's no doubt.
So did you go with Kyler?
I would go Kyler too.
Yeah,
I
right
would.
Now.
I would give Kyler the lead.
Right now, MVP is Kyler Murray.
Yes,
Congratulations. We should get an award for that.
Yeah.
Give him a trophy, have him accept it.
Send him an energy drink. He'll like that.
I'll send him one. Hopefully he doesn't choke on it like I did earlier. All right, so Cardinals win again. They're undefeated. They are rolling. The Packers win again. Although, much like the Cardinals, where that score didn't indicate how much they struggled, perhaps early in the game.
Yeah.
Packers struggled in this game against Washington. Washington moved the ball. Something you pointed out before we started taping is that even though the Packers won 24-10, Washington outgained them 430 yards to 304. And you said, you're like, how much did Washington punt in this game? And then Pete was going through 0.
Yeah.
Washington did not punt in a game where they scored 10 points and lost by 14.
Yeah. This game was really a toe-to-toe battle. It's just, again, I think it goes back to the old conversation we're having with Green Bay right now. Green Bay they don't make mistakes, so they're going to make you earn it on both sides of the football. They're very sound. And they kind of have the right feel of like, oh, wait, okay, we got to step on the pedal a little bit this drive and, force the issue offensively. Okay, we'll do that here. But they don't ever go crazy. Rodgers playing very within himself. He's not taking any chances. But, hey, that was definitely, one of the things that came away from the game going 24-10. And that's why I brought it up. I was just like, that score is misleading. I mean, it was misleading when you talk about the fourth down stops they had when they were in field goal range, on the 1-yard line. Taylor Heineke diving before he got in the end zone, not knowing that rule. That was a big moment of the football game because then the next play didn't make it on the goal line sneak. Washington played well enough to steal that game there. Yeah. And it was the best game Washington's defensive line played all year. That was the thing that I came away with.
3 first-half sacks, 2 by Jonathan Allen. Nearly had a safety later in the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were
play, over Rodgers a little bit.
They did play tough against that offense, but Davante Adams eventually going to get free, and that offense is going to get rolling. Davante Adams passed Sterling Shepard for second most receptions in Packers history behind...
Wait, who'd you say? Sterling Sharp. Yeah.
What did I say?
Sterling Shepard, who plays in the Giants. I was like, damn, when did he play for the Packers? But Sterling Sharp.
And to have the second most receptions of all time.
So he passed Sterling Sharp.
He passed Sterling Sharp for second most receptions in Packers history. First still, though, more than 150 ahead of Adams. Still got some time to go. He might not get it because this might be his last year there. The last dance with Rodgers. Number 1 in Packers history is...
This guy played with Rodgers?
A little bit, mostly with Favre.
Yeah, so this is Donald Driver?
Donald Driver.
Yeah, right.
743 receptions there. So Davante Adams, like you mentioned before, it's like the Packers, they know where their bread is buttered.
They
with
do.
Davante Adams, and they'll go with it over and over. Now, the damn okay in this game, tight ends edition, Robert Tonyan finally got his touchdown, 4 catches, 63 yards, both season highs. Got a touchdown in this game and was more of like that red zone, end zone target for Rodgers last year. Has had a little bit trouble getting going this year.
Right.
But perhaps this is a sign of things to come. I got this note from Lockdown CB on the defensive side. He wants a damn okay for Eric Stokes.
Yeah,
Balled
Stokes
out
is a player.
all day. Looks to be a first-round talent.
Yep.
Might be a bit of a self-scout thyself, too, he says.
Yeah,
so adds that in there. A little dig to you.
Thank you. Yeah, you shut down corner, okay? I mean, that. Thank you. You're right about that. I had him just out of my top 5 corners. He's been really good. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
He has. He's big. He competes. And of course he can run. There's no doubt about that. Him and the kid that came out of Georgia that went to Jacksonville, Tyson Campbell. They're 4-3 guys. So yeah, they needed him to play well. Of course, Jair Alexander hurt, and it was kind of an issue with their football team the last few years. Was that other corner opposite Jair? I think they found something there. So there's no doubt we're seeing Rashawn Gary pop a little bit here as of late. Yep. He's making some plays.
10 quarterback pressures, most in the NFL this week for Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay is weird to me. I know they're 6-1. I get it. Efficiency and not messing up the game. I don't know if that wins Super Bowls. I don't know it. Again, okay, efficiency and not messing up the game, but what about when you're playing a team as good as you that also doesn't mess up the game? That to me is, I don't know if Green Bay's going to win those games, and that's where I'm just not sure. Green Bay, again, really good. I know they're going to be in the final 8, most likely. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say that. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they're truly talented enough to beat teams like the Rams, the Bucks, Arizona, or even Dallas this year. I'm not sure. And then that's that to me is where I would go. I wish Green Bay would make a play for something on the offensive side. They're not going to be able to go to Davante Adams in the playoffs. Those defenses are not going to be oh, we're going to let Davante Adams go for 800 catches in this game.
Maybe the weather gets colder. You lean more on Jones and
that's
Dillon.
Rodgers time. You know that too. When it gets cold up there, that's when they're tough. But I don't know. It's just something that comes to my mind. They are, to me, I would love to see them make some sort of move like that. I don't know. I don't know. I've said Odell Beckham Jr. and those type of things, but I think they need one more weapon to push them over the edge if they want to win the Super Bowl, compared to these other teams in the NFC that we've talked about who have unreal star talent on both sides of the ball to a degree. Sorry, I didn't mean to get us off topic there, but just something I thought worth
Can they beat a team as good over in the AFC as The Las Vegas Raiders. That's perhaps a question, too. They beat the Eagles 33-22.
Yeah.
I saw this coming into the game. Raiders entered the game as the renters. They're renting, you know.
I'm rubbing off on you.
I've always been this way. Maybe I'm rubbing off on you. Raiders entered the game as the only team with 4 300-yard receivers. Ruggs, Renfro, Waller, Edwards. Their leading receiver in this game.
Say that 3 times fast.
I know. Their leading receiver in this game, Foster Moreau.
Don't forget about him.
6 catches, 60 yards, both career highs, and a touchdown. As Derek Carr goes 31 of 34.
Insane.
91% completion percentage, career best for him, best for any quarterback this season. 2 touchdowns, did have an interception. But yeah, like that's an indication right there, though. I mean, this offense, and then you got the running back, too. If they're healthy, they can do that.
Drake and Jacobs, yeah.
Like they're the anti-Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I mean, you look at some of these other teams in football that are towards the top of the standings, you just go, man, they got a lot of firepower. Like, where does it even start on like who to defend? And like I think you just said, like, no Waller out there and still do this thing. Like, I mean, he'd be my pick for the best tight end in football right now. So not to have him and do that, but man, it just Derek Carr. What can you say about him? Throws a bad interception right on one of the first drives of the game, but from that point on, it was like, I don't know. It just seemed like I always go back to the word surgical. It just every time I looked up, it was 8 yards, it was 10 yards, it was 6 yards, it was 5 yards. They couldn't stop him. They really couldn't. And the Raiders seemed their O-line the last few weeks has really played better. They're protecting well, and the Eagles, who really put a lot of pressure on their front four and like to play these kind of 2 deep coverages and zone coverages that way. That's where I'm mad about my pick of the game. It didn't match up. The Raiders have a million different ways to kind of pick apart those type of defenses. And between that, right, so they go up 14-7. Then, let me just see if I can get this right. Gainwell fumbles, right? And it becomes 17-7 right before the half. So now it's 17-7. And then, to me, one of the tragic errors of the day yesterday, because we saw it work, but it's 17-7, and the Eagles started off the second half by kicking an onside kick, and the Raiders recovered it, and they went down and scored, and that was night-night. Because, as you see, the Eagles and their passing game is less than.
There was a stretch there where the Raiders scored 17 unanswered points, and the Eagles had run 1 offensive snap. Because they had a turnover there, they had the onside kick, and so it was just like that.
Everything turned. That's where you got to be careful about picking your point, like spots of
Ask Dan Campbell when to do it. Ask him when to do it.
Well, we saw a lot of trick plays in football yesterday.
We did.
That was a thing, where it was pretty unbelievable. And I get it. Listen, you should always got to have a few in the bag, but I don't know. 17-7, you're down 10.
Yeah. I always say don't do it if it's not going to work. If it's going to work, go ahead and do it. If it's not going to work,
you are smart.
Don't do it.
Wise man Ahmed Fareed.
Daniel Montez, 5'10". At the beginning of the season, you said the Raiders' defense lacked a superstar, but Max Crosby is definitely filling that role as of late. Has your opinion on the defense and how far this team can go changed?
Yeah, it has. It has, definitely. I think just, Gus Bradley, what he's done, Crosby's become, I can't lie, more of a force than I ever envisioned him, even as good as he was last year. And but man,
he's improved. I mean, like you look at his body, he's gotten stronger. It seems
he has a different look.
He's a different player. So like the guy you evaluated out of college, or maybe even that first year, it's a different player.
It was still impressive, but this has gotten to the point to like what you're saying, where you're just like, no, he's going to be around the quarterback a handful of times today. I don't give a shit who your tackle is.
Yeah.
And then Yannick Ngakoue popped up a bunch of times as well. It looks like, hey, this is where Gus Bradley, I think, is really improved.
Tripod 2X. Is Gus Bradley still running that basic Seattle defense, or is he mixing in new concepts?
Well, he got a few little new concepts here, but it's still the Seattle-based stuff. It is. But he's the master of it. He's the inventor of it. He's the best at it. And for them, it, I think, is a good thing, because they got a bunch of young guys who got some talent in the secondary who, I think, in their first few years, like, too many defenses is like too many ups. And now they're like, wait, Gus taught us, here's the rules. It's simple. We know what we're doing. And they're playing really well. And I just, Gus is a great coach. He really is. He's a great motivator, and he understands how to attack teams. And he's just got just the right sprinkle of different stuff to go along with the Seattle scheme.
Rich Bisaccia, great coach as well, 2-0 as interim head coach.
Way to go, Rich.
And, I kind of want to mention this, too.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs had this quote after the game. He said, man, the sidelines was just so, it was like, it wasn't no anxiety. It was weird. It was like everyone was calm. You didn't have someone cussing at you or going crazy at the refs. None of that. Something bad happened, and it was like, okay, next play. I mean, that seems to be a commentary on the guy who is no longer there. What do you make of that?
It is some major shade. Pete Demoletitis just said that's some major shade. That's some shade. That is. Well, listen, not everyone likes to be coached that way. And I think it is jarring. It was jarring for people in my years at Tampa Bay where they were like, dude, this guy is out of control. And yeah, you always felt like there was games where we're up by 10 and in control of the game, and you felt like we were down by 10 by the way he was acting on the sidelines. So I think he's trying to tell you, somebody else made a comment this week, too, that was similar to that, where it was just something about the week of practice, how it was calm, too, and there was no anxiety. So yeah, not everybody likes to be coached that way. But Bisaccia is, again, this is where I think the world of football has to look at these guys more as far as head coaches. I've stood on the table for him the last 2 years in the coaching cycle a little bit because I know he can be a John Harbaugh type guy. I've been around him. He was there in Tampa when I was there. He has a great way of communicating, a great way of he can be hard on you, but he still loves you, right? Can kind of say some things and be like, getting your ass a little bit, and that's f***ed up, and what did you do?
Whereas everyone thinks Gruden probably hates them deep down.
Well, it can maybe cross the line of being a little mean at times. Sure. Bisaccia can do it with the right way of no, this is just, I'm a man coach, and I'm talking to you, and I'm your general, and I still love you, but that was stupid. He's got a great way about him, and he understands managing a game. And to me, it's a little bit of a lost art in football right now. Everyone's looking for the young offensive coordinator. I know that. But I think guys like Dan Campbell and Rich Bisaccia and them, I think, have more value than the NFL world's giving them credit for.
2-0. Good start for him so far. 33-22, the final score. Raiders get the win. You said Darren Waller is the best tight end in football in your mind. I wonder if you'll be saying that by the end of the year because Kyle Pitts looks pretty good, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Falcons beat the Dolphins 30-28. 7 catches for Pitts. Season high 163 yards. Second straight 100-yard game. Had one that was one-handed. He is the youngest tight end in NFL history with 150-plus receiving yards in a game. He's just 21 years old and 21 years and 18 days old. He just turned 21.
Yeah, well, I saw something else, too. He's got the most receiving yards by a rookie tight end since Mark Bavaro in 1985, which, of course, is that it? That was it.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, by the end of this year, could you be saying Kyle Pitts is the best receiving tight end in football?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't think that's crazy. I mean, he's a freak show. He's the freakiest of all the tight ends in football.
How do you guard him? Brian Flores, the Dolphins, did not know how to guard him.
Well, no, you could see. They were like, wait, we're going to put our Xavier Howard on him man-to-man. Didn't matter. That's where he's got a little bit of the Gronk effect, right, where he's more athletic than Gronk, so he can run like a slower-ish big receiver, but it's one of those, to me, and this is where I know Gronk used to surprise people, and then they would get out in the field if they hadn't played the Patriots or stuff. They would just go, we just didn't realize how big he was. We just didn't realize that we thought we had a big guy covering him, and we covered him, but it just didn't matter. He shielded us. He held it off as his body. He throws up his arms that are 7 feet long and catches it. That's what Kyle Pitts is. So it's even when you see good coverage, it just doesn't really matter. And they have found a little niche for him within the offense, too, and how to, stress you out with how they line up in formations. And, Matt Ryan and company, they got a little combination going there with the group. Atlanta's got it going. They really do.
Yeah, they're 3-3.
Yeah.
They're in wild card contention. I mean, how long can they stay there? You don't know. I mean, I don't know what their other wins are against. I mean, they got the win against the Dolphins here with Strugglesville.
Yeah, they beat the Jets and they beat the Jets and the Giants. So it's not impressive, right? It's not impressive, but they're not going to be a pushover. And I think their offense has kind of found what works for them. And Matt Ryan's playing pretty good football. And when they have a good, healthy Calvin Ridley to go along with Pitts, like you're talking about, and Cordero Patterson. They pose some problems for whoever that defense is. This game was fun to watch. It was a lot of back and forth.
It was
a lot of back and forth. Tua played pretty good. He had the two bad interceptions.
Let's get into that.
Yeah.
Let's get into that because that's another big talking point in this one. I think this was the game where after that second really bad interception, there were people in Miami who have defended Tua that were like, I don't know, I can't do it anymore. He's not the answer. I think a prominent beat writer kind of tweeted like, well, Tua's not the answer. And I deep down felt, I was like, this is where it's going to happen for Chris. Chris has been beating the drum on like, okay, pump the brakes. Tua's not quite as good as we're all making him out to be. I was like, this might be the game where Chris now turns out to be higher on Tua than most other people. Like, this is where it flips for you. So tell me, what did you think of Tua in that game?
People are piling on now, and it's like I want to be like, you're too late to the party. Like, you're not allowed to pile on. If you didn't really notice it now, then shut up and just back off. Or like,
I'm the only one that can crap.
Well, you can't defend him like there's no end, and then just change your mind in 10 days. Like that's to me where it's gotten crazy. And then I think people are realizing it because they're hearing it from when. Other teams when they play him. And, I think the last 2 weeks is, even though it's been good play, I think the other thing that just jumps out to you is, man, his arm is just average. And they have to manage so many ways to throw the ball in the middle of the field to kind of make it all work. And it's just hard to win games like that, to just always put together a drive that way.
But he wasn't bad.
He was not bad. He can execute the offense.
After that that second bad interception, he went 6 for 6, 9-play, 90-yard touchdown.
That was a huge drive. Yeah, huge drive.
Came right back.
No doubt about it. I mean, he knows how to play. He can play the game. Mm-hmm. It's just, can he make plays to change the game? And that's what he's expected to do when you're a top 5 pick. And unfortunately, the guys that were drafted by him, Herbert and Burrow, they do that every game. And Tua, okay, fine. You can be good guy, execute, boom, 9 plays, 90-yard drives. That's great because you're not going to get a lot of like 3-play 90-yard drives or anything like that out of them. But when you're that guy, Ahmed, I think what compounds it is you can't be dumb interception guy too. And that's what we kind of see every game from him to a degree too, where you just go, "What?
Yeah,
what?
It's like a ceiling and floor, right?
You're playing so good. How did you do that one right there?
If your ceiling's not going to be a guy that can put the game on his shoulders and win it, you can't also be the guy that
makes like the crucial mistakes.
I get that.
And I'm not trying. Again, it's a lot of good there. There is a lot of good.
Yes.
But I think again, it just goes back to what I've always been saying. There's a certain support system that's needed, I think, to make Tua work. Where again. Burrow and Herbert, you can put in any offense, and I'd go, it'll work. Trust me, it'll work. No doubt about that. We'll see. And, of course, the Deshaun Watson stuff is very real, as we've been saying all along. Yeah. So I think that has a real possibility of happening maybe this week. There's no doubt about it. And, yeah, from what I've heard, that's where Deshaun Watson wants to go, and I've heard that from pretty good sources.
Such a head-scratcher, that whole story of, like, okay, he's just going to pop back in. He's going to be allowed to play. It's like, no he's not going to be allowed to play. No. And then the NFL is going to shut it down. But they're like, okay, that's a guy you give up 3 first-round or 2 first-rounders for. It's like, what? None of it makes sense to me, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't – that doesn't for me, if you were – I think nothing's going to happen, but it seems like there's a ton of chatter out there where he could go.
Yeah, so I think it's – I think Carolina and Miami, just from the people I know in football, are they want to make it happen.
They're just so desperate that it's like, we don't even care if this doesn't work out for this year.
I think Miami is going, this year's done already. Yeah. So let's just start building for the future more. They think they've realized, like, so what if we got in the playoffs? We're not a real Super Bowl team. Like, we're not real. Right. So, I think they're thinking about the future right now.
So that was love to the tight ends. Also give love to Mike Gesicki, 7 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown in that one. So he was very good as well. Let's give some love now to some defensive performances that maybe were a little underrated, and we'll use our Robin Hood segment for that.
Whoa, we haven't seen this guy
in a long time.
Been a while.
Like, look at you. Like, you look significantly younger in that picture, too.
I do. I wish, can we find new pictures of me other than pictures ever? Because Because I like my hair the way it is now compared to the pictures they use all the time.
Yeah, you were wearing a pointy hat, though, so you really couldn't see the hair too much.
I do love me some Robin Hood.
Let's give love to a Robin Hood, Kyle Duggar. For the Patriots, they thump the Jets 54-13. He had a team-high 8 tackles and a shoestring interception in this game.
He's quietly becoming one of the better safeties in football and one of the better team players on their defense. He just... like the guy in Carolina a little bit, Jeremy Chin. He's just linebacker, safety, match up against a big tight end, and the receiving game. He's just very versatile. So to me, it's like he's the modern day guy that everybody's looking for because he's situational. Let alone he can play every down. All right, we're in a base defense. He's the normal safety. Oh, we want to get nickel. Damn, we can bring him down in to be one of the nickel linebackers. We can do that. Same thing with dime. We can move him down in certain areas. So they can do a lot of different stuff with him, and Bill Belichick loves that. He's a really, really good football player. I mean, that was a great draft pick by them altogether. That was an ass whooping, again. I'm sorry for my man Zach Wilson. The Jets offense needs to do more, okay? This is something I was saying towards the end of last week when I was talking about this game.
They still have not scored in the first quarter.
It's too basic, and they ask too much of him just to make great throws. There's got to be a little help. Got to find him easier ways to get him some cheap completions. I know that's not going to be an issue now because he's probably going to be out for a few weeks. But I think here the point of the day is the Patriots defense is good. We know that. They are good. So that's not going to change. But 2 weeks in a row, we've seen the offense kind of make some explosive plays. 2 weeks in a row, I've seen some huge holes in the running game for Damian Harris against the Cowboys and the Jets. So if this Patriots team can start to run the ball a little bit and just find a few ways to throw the ball deep down the field or get big plays, they'll be tough to beat because they got everything else to go with it. They got all the million ways to throw it 5 and 6 yards at a time and execute. So that'll be something to watch for. But that's what jumped out to me about New England yesterday.
Yeah, Damian Harris was the fastest ball carrier of the week.
Is that right?
On a 32-yard rush in the first quarter. No, it was not the touchdown.
Close,
down to the 7-yard line.
Right.
Fastest ball carrier of the week. So he's got some speed and a tough runner. Damian Harris, a big key to that Patriots team. Just to clean up Zach Wilson there, will miss 2 to 4 weeks with a sprained PCL, so he's out for a little while. Neil watches PFT.
Way to go, Neil.
Is his name.
You should.
Hey, Chris and Ahmed, love the pod. Do you think the Patriots can make a playoff run? Seems like the offense finally woke up yesterday and they didn't make critical turnovers that cost them. So they did win again.
Yep.
I will note that all 3 wins for New England have been versus rookie quarterbacks, 2 now versus Zach Wilson, 1 versus Davis Mills.
But toe-to-toe with Brady and the Bucs.
True.
Toe-to-toe with the Cowboys last week.
Yes, that's true.
And the Saints game wasn't that bad. It was Mac Jones had a ball off of Jonnu Smith's hands, interception, pick 6, and then got hit as he was thrown as interception, pick 6. Or I don't know if both went pick 6, but either way, they went really close to scoring. Yes, they're not out of this yet. They're not out of this. They're not. They're we talked about, they're not playing New England way of football, right? We talked about that a lot, making mistakes, turnovers, just like stuff we haven't seen them do. And they were disappointing from the standpoint of, I think you and I talked a lot last year, how dominant their run game was, how their O-line was an unstoppable force. We hadn't seen that here until the last 2 weeks finally. Mm-hmm. Chargers this week, I know it's out in L.A., but, hey, Bill and company will have a game plan to slow down Herbert. And that Chargers D-line, as we've talked about, I don't think they could stop you and me from running the football. I'm dead. I mean, they're not good at. So that plays into their hand here. I wouldn't be shocked if they made this game close. Carolina the week after, Cleveland, Atlanta. I mean, they're not that I'm going to say they're going to win these games, but to me they're winnable to where they get back in the conversation here. And of course, at the end of the year, they got the Jaguars and Dolphins again. I'm going to give them a fighting chance.
Yeah.
They've put themselves in quite a hole here, and the AFC, of course, is good. There's a lot of good teams.
But not as good as the NFC.
No,
so
not the top group.
Difficult.
Not the top group. No, definitely not.
But the AFC might, some of those bottom teams might be flexing their muscle a little bit, as did the Colts on Sunday Night Football.
Watch out.
Beating the 49ers 30-18, and we're going to give some love. Robin Hood, Xavier Rhodes walked off pregame warm-ups because he aggravated that calf injury. We saw it during the telecast, left the game in the first half too, but finished with 4 tackles, a couple pass breakups, and had that huge second-half interception. The Colts, this is what they do, and we saw it with their guy Darius Leonard. I mean, they're just around the ball.
They're
they're perhaps the top team at taking the ball away. I think they are. And they did it in this game, and that was the difference in a rainy, soggy night in Santa Clara.
They're dangerous to me. They're like the sleeping giant of the AFC, where I'd go, ooh, watch out. You let them in the playoffs, and they keep playing the way they are. They're going to be a pain for any team in the playoffs. They are. Because, we've seen them slow down Lamar Jackson in the run game. They can do that. They're very fast on the defensive side of the ball. Their corners to me are a question mark, and I know they're a little banged up in those areas too. Xavier Rhodes, yeah, phenomenal. I mean, to play through that, the calf strain and everything that way, and have it, re-injure or pull a little bit in pregame, gutsy performance. He's a tough SOB. There's no doubt about that. Some big plays there, but again, it's a well-coached defense, and the offense is like hitting that point where you go, man, they can kind of do everything.
Well, they're the opposite. So Pete notes here that Indy's 16 takeaways is tied with Buffalo for the most in the NFL. And Carson Wentz and company, a couple turnovers in this one, which you can forgive in those conditions that we had.
Right.
But Wentz still has just one interception because that was ruled a fumble.
Yeah, right.
Which actually, if he could have gotten that ball off, would have been a touchdown. Pascal was wide open in the end zone.
Yep.
And so they've taken care of the ball. Carson Wentz has got his ankles back, apparently, and seems to be running super well. I mean, who knows how long he can stay healthy running like he is, but yeah, and Michael Pittman seems to be becoming a star go-to guy for Carson Wentz. So it's like they've got weapons all over the place.
They do. They got weapons all over the place. Mo Alley Cox is legit. The supporting receivers are real. They got a lot of good. You're right. Pittman Jr. is a borderline superstar. If they can get T.Y. Hilton back healthy, that's why I was so disappointed about Paris Campbell getting hurt last week, because he's a star in my opinion too. It's just unfortunate. But either way, they've found their groove. You see now they can run the ball. They're getting better every week at doing that. Carson Wentz obviously more comfortable. Last night's a hard, gauge of clean offensive football. I know that. But, hey, the one thing that was different about them, I mean, first off, they could do something on third down, which the 49ers could not. The Colts make you defend the whole field. Like we talk about good teams all the time. Oh, we got to worry about Quentin Nelson, the run game with Jonathan Taylor. Oh, man. Okay, wait, they got good ways to throw quick passes and do that. Oh, you want to play one-on-one? We'll throw the ball down the field. I mean, again, the stats are going to lie about this game. Yeah, Indy had 295 yards to 49ers 280. Mm-hmm. Indy was 6 for 14 on third downs. San Francisco was 1 for 11. And there was 100 yards in pass interference by the 49ers.
Yes.
You got to add that onto the stats. Those were huge plays because they were willing to go, you know what? We're going to stretch the field. You're not going to just play this defense. We're not going to just let you sit here and do this. If you're going to play out there with those kind of sorry corners you got, we're going to test it. Mm-hmm. And that's what they did, and they put pressure on you.
Watching that, you're like, why doesn't every team just underthrow every ball? And then you're like, oh, wait, we do see that a lot, and they're oftentimes picks.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always work
as
well as we saw in that game.
But the point is, it's a lost start, and that's where I like –
when it's one-on-one, when it's like it's one-on-one.
Yes, take chances. And more times than not, the receiver's going to catch it or you're going to get pass interference. As you saw last night, DBs cannot play the ball in those situations a lot of the time. They cannot. And especially the way a lot of the DBs are taught now to turn into the receiver. They turn in, they don't know where the ball is. So then it's like, oh, the ball's still 8 yards away. You turn into him and him, and it's pass interference.
All right, we gotta look at the other side of it here.
Yeah.
Rough times for your boy Kyle and San Francisco.
It is rough.
Burn Unit says, self-scout your boy Kyle Shanahan. WTF is wrong with his play calling this year. Are you sure Jimmy gives the team the best chance to win? Face with raised eyebrow. And Kamaroto1 says, self-scout thyself, Chris. Stop picking the 49ers because you have a friend there. They're just not that good. So the people that have praised Kyle for so long and have been excited about this year, which they should be, it's a good roster, good team, are turning on Kyle and you because you have your connection to him.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, I don't know what to say. I know I picked them to win the game last night. I did. I needed to see the Colts win that type of game before I picked them. I just couldn't do it. But I think, what we just talked about with the Colts, here would be my first thing. First off, the 49ers do not make you defend the whole field. I mean, that's the biggest thing to me more than anything. You don't even have to worry about playing defense outside the numbers. You don't. They don't ever throw it out there. They never play like our guy's better than yours guy. We're going to just throw a 15-yard comeback. Our guy's better than your guy. We're going to run Michael Pittman on a deep go route and just throw it up to him. They never do that. I don't know why. That bothers me about them. And
they have one guy they think is better, Debo.
Well, Debo. Yet they don't throw those type of balls to him. It's always, over the middle, and he's running like his ass is on fire through a bunch of people. And, of course, that leads to interceptions and issues because the ball's always over the middle in San Francisco. So, yeah, they've hit, a little bit of a stalemate on the offensive side of the ball. Again, it was tough last night. The weather was crazy, but there was a difference there between, to me, an offense that stresses you out a little bit more and an offense that it just if the Shanahan special run game doesn't work, it just I question it a little bit. I guess that's my biggest thing. And to me, one of the things I'll say if I'm going to self-scout my friend or anything like that is, I'd like to see them be a little more diverse in the pass game and stop looking so many concepts over the middle. But the other thing to that too would be, man, like the first drive of the game, they ran the ball right down the Colts' throats. All these misdirections and people going different ways before the snap, and then even the ball's being snapped and they're handing it to the left, but they got guys going to the right, and you're going like, wait, is something going to go over there? And it was unstoppable.
Looked awesome.
Right. And then the second drive, they ran another one of those runs, ripped off a 16-yard run, and then threw the ball 3 straight plays. And then got into a little bit of like, I just wanted to go, where's all the misdirection stuff again? They went 3 or 4 series where I just went, where did it go? Like that all worked. Do we know that the Colts adjusted and know how to defend it? That would be the one thing I would say a little bit. But yeah, they're struggling right now. There's no doubt about it.
Can they still make the playoffs?
Yes, they can. Definitely in the NFC, 100%. I mean, still a lot of good football players. They've been a little beat up, definitely. Their defensive line's not as dominant as I thought it would be. I won't lie about that. The corners are an issue, and the offense just hasn't quite found its groove or been as dominant as we've seen with, years past with Shanahan, at the helm.
Yeah. Some questions in Santa Clara and San Francisco right now for the 49ers. Colts getting on the
It's hard to be really
way.
good, too, when you can't stay on the field on third down.
Yep.
That to me is where Jimmy's not a great third down quarterback. And if the play isn't delivered for him by Shanahan, he's not going to make the play. And he doesn't throw the ball down the field good enough and doesn't throw the ball with enough power outside the numbers, let alone I don't think Shanahan needs to encourage it a little bit too and force it. And that to me is where the 49ers fall into a problem a little bit right now. It's like put a lot of people between the hashes and they're going to have a hard time moving the ball.
And he was asked after the game, is Jimmy going to start next week? And he goes, I guess so. So I think they don't know.
I saw that
quote.
Know so yeah, that's not
they don't
exactly.
know on the health of
right.
Trey Lance, and
right.
I mean Jimmy wasn't. I don't think 100% in this game either.
No,
so
definitely not.
Got some questions to be answered for the 49ers. One final game here. A lot of questions for the offense of the Carolina Panthers, who we thought was a playoff team. Called it before the season. Looked good after that 3-0 start, and they look maybe like the worst. They maybe look like the worst team in football, at least offensively right now. Azeez Ojulari is our guy. Pete's thrown out there for a Robin Hood.
Yeah,
5 tackles,
Azeez.
2.5 sacks, 5.5 sacks this season, already tied for the most by a Giants rookie since Lawrence Taylor had 9.5 in 1981. So, I mean, the Giants look. If you only saw this game and never saw another NFL game, the Giants Super Bowl team.
I thought the game would be close. I did. I picked Carolina to win the football game, but I think. The biggest thing is Sam Darnold's not playing good. I don't know any other way to say that.
Got benched.
Yep, got benched. And I'll go back to what I said again a little the last 2 weeks. You've heard me say this, I believe. I mean, at least I know I've said it on maybe the other podcasts you weren't here and you were ditching me for something else.
Mm-hmm.
Was, defenses have caught on to Joe Brady. Again, I watched the game close enough yesterday to see replays, too, to where I go, okay, Sam Darnold did some dumb shit, I know. Like his interception in the end zone that Drew Brees broke down on Football Night in America last night, that was stupid. I don't know what any other way to say. First off, he had the post route for the touchdown. He had the underneath guy just check it down, get 8 yards, and he threw the ball into a crowd of 4 defenders with the Giants. So, yeah, that, and they've just kind of lost their way on the offensive side of the ball. To where it's a real issue. And
no running game to help
game.
him.
McCaffrey's hurt. Him not being there has hurt them for sure. So they got a lot of issues on that side of the ball.
On the other side, it was Daniel Jones. Logan Ryan, according to him, said he was the QB1, RB1, and wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And they won convincingly without Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, who I tried to put on the Packers there earlier in the show.
It's why I didn't pick him, because I went with no Kadarius Toney and Saquon Barkley. Where are they going to get plays from? What's going to happen? But Daniel Jones played really good. And, they just didn't make any mistakes. And Graham Gano is a f***ing weapon. He's a weapon for them, their field goal kicker. If he's almost like, I don't want to say Justin Tucker-ish, but once you get around the 37-yard line, it's almost like 95% he can hit it there, no matter what. And then that's, good game by the Giants. Tough, physical, well-coached again, proper game plan, and just slowly but surely wore the Panthers down. And, again, I don't think the Giants are as talented as the Carolina Panthers, but they're better coached at this point. They know who they are, and that's where, it was a big win for them.
4 straight losses for Carolina. Maybe they're in on Deshaun Watson. We'll have to see. David Tepper, their owner, has been very aggressive in the past. We'll see if they make any moves here.
I heard he wants it to happen bad.
Really?
That's what I've been told. Bad. He wants it to happen now. Now, Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause, so he's going to be able to pick where he wants to go. And from what I've told by somebody very reliable in the conversation is that, he's hell-bent on Miami. And I want to go, why? I mean, I like Miami. I'm all for it.
If you were, you'd rather have Carolina,
just go with Carolina.
Places to win right now, set up to win.
Yeah, I mean, because, you might not be able to play this year, but, damn, they do got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and Christian McCaffrey. And that's better than any 3 I can name on the Dolphins right now. And I like Waddle and Gesicki. Don't get me wrong. I like them. But that, to me, is where I just look at it and go, okay, I understand, Miami, but, just a flat-out no to Carolina? I don't understand that.
North Carolina's a good place, too. That's a decent place to live. I like it.
No
Spend
doubt.
some time in the Virginia Beach area.
Yeah, it's
all
a
right,
good
that's
spot.
it. No time for the top pick power rankings. Just don't have time.
Yep.
We'll let it marinate for another week. We did it last week, and so it's often
you
good.
make me feel guilty now with your kindness, because you're basically saying you talk too much and this podcast has gone on long enough.
No, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of us doing this podcast, is for you to talk too much.
Okay, fine.
But we want to get one final thought. We got Monday night. What do we got? Saints, Seahawks.
Yeah. I could see a defensive struggle type of football game here. No doubt about that. I think this could lend, the Seahawks are going to have to, and again, they do this anyways, where they like to crowd the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to crowd the line of scrimmage, I think, to slow down the Saints' run game. You could see a lot of, I think, big Sean Payton, Jameis Winston play-action pass type game here to me. And again, I like what Geno Smith did. This is the good Saints defense. And to me, the Saints only have one flaw. They just go for the jugular a little too much on the defensive side of the ball. They have a great front. They should be able to stop the Seahawks run game with their front almost by itself and not leave the opportunities to DK and Lockett to burn you that way. I'm going to say, I think I picked the Seahawks by a touchdown. I can't remember exactly. I mean, Saints by a touchdown. Sorry. I want to say I picked Pete, do you remember my score? But it was maybe 24-17. Might have been even a little lower scoring than that. I can't remember exactly.
I'll go Saints
28-17.
I'll go Saints by 20.
Saints by 20.
Why not? It was the week of the blowout, right?
You're right.
All these games we had one game, Atlanta and the Dolphins.
You're right about that. That was one of the things I think that is a little bit jumps out about the game in general is just yesterday is there is definitely an upper class and a lower class in football.
Seems to be emerging.
We might see more blowouts this year than any years in years past, where it's just the league's close, but damn, it just seems like there's definitely 2 classes of teams in the league right now.
All right, get in there, get back home, start looking at film so you can break it down Wednesday with Paul.
Know it. I'll do it. You're the man. That's it. That's it for Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Under Armour. Ahmed Fareed is the man, as always, for hosting this show. Very true. Definite about that. And he's a Hall of Famer in Sparta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notable person. Hall
of Fame. That's how big time he is.
Huge.
Peace out, everybody. Send in questions, any plays you want me to break down for what the happened Wednesday podcast. Let me know. All right. Peace out. Thanks to Under Armour once again. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Sims Unbuttoned Podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.